overseas we were seen as quite boring, really. Over the last 15, 20 years, young people have got involved, who've traveled the world, have seen things, and have now gone out and done things themselves. It's really making us a very exciting industry to the rest of the world.
South African wine is a fairly novel concept. We're not like one of the big players out there.
Talking about the young winemakers, people with different ideas, people who are prepared to go beyond boundaries. Peter Valser is an absolute example of it.
Peter's approach has been completely different, to create original wines with original packaging.
I like anything with a story. So sometimes I'll arrive at a farm and it's a really posh, nice place and the grapes are really good, but there's nothing to it. There's just no story behind the vineyard. And then some other day you'll end up at a farm that's really rugged, nothing's nice, but you'll find this little vineyard on the top of a mountain that this guy's father planted 60 years ago, and there's like loads of history behind it. That's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. Finding that story and finding that little vineyard, searching for little diamonds in the rough.
I like to believe that to succeed in South Africa in this industry, we just have to try a lot harder than most people in other wine areas around the world. And I'm proud of the people that persist and succeed. We don't have a particularly affluent local market. We have to engage the whole world.
There's no other place I know that is so dense with atmosphere, so strangely and darkly impregnated with that stuff of life that bears the authentic stamp of South Africa.
Whatever I've done has come to nothing. It's all been about me, whether I'll be recognized. What is it you want me to do? I've got good hands, I'm capable, and the answer came very, very clearly. Make pots. And my first reaction was, sorry, I didn't hear that. And it came again. It's like, no, I want you to make pots.
Vader, in 'n oomblik van stilte, kom ons tot die troon van genade om aan U te sê dank. Here, dat U het ons deur 'n nag gedra en weer eens vanmôre ons oë oopgemaak. Dat ons hierdie dag kan aanskou, Here, dat U is goed en dat U is regverdig. Kom dan nou, Here, en seën ons elkeen na mate U wonderlike wil. Gee aan ons die nodige moed en krag, so ook die gesondheid, so ook elke sieke vanmôre waar ook al te vind. Laat hulle U teenwoordigheid ervaar en weet daar is niemand soos U. Nie dat ons dit verdien nie, maar omdat U is getrou, sê ons aan U dank. In Jesus naam. Amen.
There's poorness, the youth not completing school. Always a teen pregnancy happening, that's a big thing there.
Peter and I got married in his third year of university, and about 3 years thereafter we decided to start with a family, and everything up to then was perfect. But then at my 22-week scan, the doctor told us that our baby had a defect, a bilateral cleft lip and palate, and it was such a shock, and it was just an absolute dream that was shattered, your picture of what it's like to have your first baby. And I still remember sitting there and thinking, this is crazy. This is really not my picture of how it would be with me and my first child.
She lost in carbonate in Canada.
I would say the turning point for Blank Bottle was when Peter entered the Wine Stars competition. It was a UK-based competition, and he flew to London and he had 3 minutes to pitch Blank Bottle to all these judges who were all importers of wine in the UK.
But some of the wines you do, it's just completely blank label. So it doesn't say anything, which is great. Actually, when I saw your first concept and all the explanation, I thought, Sometimes there's a very thin line between being insane and being genius. You are the latter, which is good.
2.5 years ago, I got offered this project of making those egg-shaped pots. To produce a really large pot in stoneware was a huge challenge. I didn't have a wheel at that point. I looked at this lot and I had an old gramophone. I said, aha, okay, a turntable.
Perceive Andrew as a fairly reclusive personality. The place makes it fairly easy for people with reclusive tendencies to come and do their thing without being disturbed.
I've tried to develop some form of project to involve our people and our team in the vineyards. Our first project that I tried hard to get off the ground was to put aside a vineyard which would be farmed by the staff completely, and all the profit would go back to the community. And that failed for the simple reason that the chains of command couldn't be worked out. People would fight about who was going to do the work. A lot of people anticipated the profit before anything had happened, and I realized it was just too all-inclusive.
It was a major disaster. All my life I'd taken so much pride in the fact that whatever I did to the very best of my ability. It didn't really matter what it cost me as long as the end product was good. So, you know, talk about pride.
I woke up one morning from a noise in the kitchen, and I found Peter standing there completely confused, covered in blood. And my first thoughts were that he had a stroke, and we rushed him to hospital. And after a first and a second and a third opinion, he got diagnosed with juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, and he was 30 years old.
For the first 7 years of making wine, I hated my own labels. I had no money to pay for a designer. I had no designing skills. When I started getting epilepsy, something in my brain changed. I got, in a sense, more interested in charcoal sketches, woodcut, paint. So we took scissors, paint, paper, and we started designing labels. And for the first time in my life, I designed a label that I actually liked. We called the wine Epileptic Inspiration.
Peter's labels are fascinating, and they're fascinating purely because they break so many rules of traditional wine label design, but they also break rules of graphic design. He uses initially what I thought was horrendous typography. The design judges looked at these labels at first and wanted to throw them out after day one. After day 3, he was winning the Grand Prix because the designers had realized what he was trying to do. He was communicating unique messages about those wines.
I remember the first time I'm working here, I couldn't put a sticker. But Peter was very, very patient to me. He taught me how to put a sticker and how it works. And that day, I feel so great.
Every year I try to go to the next level, and I knew for many years that the only way to get my wines better is to change fermentation vessels, to add that extra layer that the wood can't give me. One day my friend phoned me. He said, listen, he's in this winery and there's a bunch of clay pots there.
This guy, Peter Walser, he bought your pots. I said, yeah. Does he know they leak? Not only have you bought the pots, but you're excited about fixing them up so they don't leak. And the Lord like just saying, okay, I'm going to make what is so wrong, what you buggered up, is irreparable. I'm going to put a little bit of redemption on it. It's been remarkable because I've tasted the wines and they are pretty amazing.
We had somebody in our office who had begun work on the property as an au pair looking after my 4 daughters. She really rose to all the challenges we threw at her. I realized that you can start small. It doesn't have to involve everybody at once. I wanted to create a business for her. What the end game was land ownership. I said, when you have a stack of wine with your name on it, the business is yours. From that day, that business has excelled. I was amazed.
So me buying property in Teslasdal, I don't know what the grapes will do. I would love to set up something that could promote the economic welfare. I just want to inspire and show and motivate, and if it's in my power, I would like to support someone just to become a business owner or become educated, to break the cycle of not working and to not have a dream or hope or vision.
I want people to ask questions. I want them to taste the wine on an emotional level. All my wines has got flaws in it. Every single one has got a flaw in it, but that is what gives it character. When they taste it, I want them to say, oh, what is this?